Hello and welcome to the start of the season HJC Podcast. My name is Phil, your Wednesday writer, and I'm joined by Sunday writer Steve.
Hey.
Monday writer Sean.
Hello.
Thursday writer Brendan.
Hi.
A.k.a. Beepo, if you want to refer to him like that. And our first order of business today is announce that we are creating a mutiny and overthrowing Ryan from the blog. But in all seriousness, this offseason brought us a lot of changes on the ice, so let's get to the best and the worst of it. First things first, the World Cup just wrapped up. I'm discussing with Team USA's performance, as you would expect, as anyone should expect, I should say. And Sean, congratulations.
I was cheering for Team North America.
Well, never mind that. I take that congratulations back.
I really feel like Kessel is supposed to be doing something aside from sitting around the house with his dog, but I can't really figure it out.
Why don't you
to the
just
White
read
House
the
today.
tweet word for word? Why don't you?
I would have done that if it actually fit.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so let's talk about the aspects of it. Your thoughts on how the jerseys looked on ice. Let's go with Steve first.
I was surprised.
How so?
They actually didn't look that bad. Like, the stripes weren't really that noticeable, and I think it was a pretty safe design overall.
Right.
I think it worked.
All right. It's a reasonable take. Let's go with Brendan. Oh, excuse me, Sean next. Sorry, Brendan.
I still felt that a lot of the designs were mediocre at best. I was disappointed with Canada and especially the Czech Republic's jerseys. But I felt that the USA, North America, Sweden, and even Finland looked pretty good, all things considered. And the fact is that they looked better on ice than they did in the shots we got during the summer.
Yeah, that's usually better on the ice than in the photo shoots and stuff. Brendan.
I actually didn't watch too much of the World Cup, so I don't really remember all of the jerseys. But I will say I wish North America's road jersey was more black and more orange than it was gray and white. Would that be considered the road jersey? I don't know, the white jersey, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think there was definitely a disconnect between what it looked like on paper or laid out than what it looked like on the ice. It was a lot different in some cases. I would cite an example, but I can't really think of one off the top of my head since I didn't watch that many games.
Right, it's all right. I didn't watch too many of that, so I understand what you're saying. Personally, for me, one of the things that stuck out big time is like we all got to see how the jerseys looked, but the way the socks were designed as well just disappointed me.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't add like another stripe of a different color at least on like all of them, I should say, except for maybe Sweden and Finland.
Seeing the gear was good. It made Canada look better to have the black gear, but it made the Czech Republic look worse with red gear.
Yeah. First things first, let me get this out of the way. Canada needs to dump the black immediately.
I don't mind a tiny bit of black, but especially like that, what was it, the World Championship jersey, the World Junior jersey with the huge black yoke.
Yeah, with the black shoulders.
Why?
I didn't mind it for the 1 year. It was 1 year. It's just when they brought out the new jerseys for this year, where you still had the black shoulder yoke and black striping.
Right.
For Team Canada, it should only be black helmets, black pants, if that.
Not even that.
I even remember making a concept around when that one came out. I replaced the black shoulder yokes with blue. That makes more sense because of their former flag than black.
I mean, I guess you could say that.
Yeah.
But how many teams wear red, blue, white together?
That's a good point.
Especially your rivals down south, Sean.
Not to mention, the U.S., Russia, Czech Republic.
Look,
Slovakia.
I'm just saying historically, I think red, white, and blue makes more sense than red, black, and white.
Or just plain red and white.
Yeah, red and white. If they really wanted to add a darker color, add a darker red.
Ooh, double red.
Or
I'm surprised I haven't
maybe
seen
like
more of
a
that,
gray.
actually.
Maybe a gray or silver.
Yeah,
Maybe.
That could work.
could probably do that.
They already have, like, thin trims of gold. That's not too bad. But
Yeah, I don't
very
mind the.
noticeable either.
Yeah, I don't mind the gold in it.
It's a nice look. Let's move on to the next topic here. Speaking of the changes in the offseason, we had 3 NHL teams completely rebrand themselves, and one of them, or 2 of them for the better, I guess you could say. One of them kind of a lateral move, in my opinion. Let's go with Steve. Who do you think had the best rebrand this season in the NHL? I know you're going to be biased by saying this, but I think I know what you're going to say.
You are darn right I'm going to be biased. The Penguins going back to the late 80s, early 90s jerseys. You know, they're very unique in a sense, and it just, I guess for sentimental reasons, it looks nice, and I just hated that Vegas gold. I really, really hated it. But, no, they look really nice. And it's very somewhat plain but unique, but it's effective.
Right. Sean, what about you?
You know, I like the new Pens jerseys and all, but I'm of the opinion that you should at least try to update it a little bit. I also think that
technically they did the white one. Technically.
Well, there's that, and the fact that the logo is unchanged, minus the gold, obviously, from the previous set, and it's got like a smaller beat from the.
There's very minor details, but that, and I think that the Penguins looked best when they were double blue. Now I know it's a controversial opinion, but
yeah,
that's an interesting one.
Who looked best?
I've always
Florida.
wondered how, like, black, gold, and blue could work for the Penguins together, but it's tough to find that balance.
Yeah, because blue is such a deep color.
I've tried it
against
myself.
the black
I
there.
think I remember seeing a concept by Jake88 that did it pretty well, but I can't remember exactly what it looked like.
Was it like
maybe
dark
linked
blue
it to
and
us.
yellow?
I remember making a concept 3 years ago where I tried to get the RoboPen onto double blue. It's and the thing is that we might see it this year. We might see, based on some T-shirt that the Penguins are selling, we might see
I saw what you're referencing.
Yeah, so
the diagonal stripe or the
which I love those jerseys.
Oh, I loved those from the 90s when they updated it to the black and yellow one. That was my favorite.
But with the logo on the shoulders, it kind of made the script look even more crowded than it already was.
Yeah, that was the down part of it.
Going back to which team has the best jersey going into this year, it's by far Florida.
Really?
The new logo is gorgeous. Say what you will about the alternate logos. I'll always love the palm tree and stick, but the shield looks fantastic. And the jerseys, this is probably the first jersey I've seen come out with a chest stripe that I think could be used full time. Granted, I think we can agree on this, because of Yager's impact in Florida, that jersey looks a lot better now. That red jersey, even though it's a cookie cutter template, it looks good, but they still improved on it, and there's a lot of unique elements to it.
Yeah.
These new jerseys.
That's what's nice about it, is that there are the unique elements to it. I don't understand why people have a problem with the chest stripe just on the front.
I don't.
Some people
I kind of wish it went to the back, but
yeah,
you only really notice it when you see a shot from the side. Have you guys seen any of those? A picture from the side? Or side?
Yeah.
It looks incredibly awkward.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me cringe. It's that bad.
I think it's going to be one of those jerseys. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I just wish there was a way to fix that without moving it all the way around the back, because that would be similar to Montreal. Then again, they are the only team who uses the chest stripe that I can think of in the NHL.
It's going to be one of those jerseys that if people want to own it, they're probably going to want to get a number on it because it'll look insanely blank without it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But
Kind of like Montreal's road jersey.
Exactly, or those Dallas jerseys. You know the ones.
Yeah.
Oh, the script look.
Yeah.
The only reason I'd want to own one of those is because it's an infamous jersey and because of how ugly it is. So
See, but that's why I have one of the fish stick jerseys.
I have a Buffa Slug and one of the Oilers original
Don't
jerseys too.
insult the Buffa Slug. Don't.
Right.
I don't. We're not getting into the Buffa Slug on this, but it's a beautiful, majestic creature. It was taken out way too soon.
Here we go.
Dicks out for Buffa Slug.
Great.
Okay. On that note, we're moving on. Brendan,
Blurt that
your
out.
thoughts on the best rebrand this season?
All right, well, we have two resident Penguins fans in this chat. I am the other one. So here's some more bias. I like the Penguins ones. But I will say, after seeing the new road jerseys on the ice, like, on TV, I wish I could go and see them in person. I think they need more black.
Yeah,
But I think the issue is a lot of people do or put the upper arm coloring in black, but then that makes there's not enough yellow whenever you do that, so it's kind of tough to figure out
Catch
exactly
22.
that right balance.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I love the Penguins New Jerseys. I went out and got one the first day the road ones
You
were on
lucky
sale.
bastard.
I made my
went to
dad
go
drive
get
like
a-
40 minutes to get it.
Lucky. I wanted to go get a new white one, and like $170, and I just no. It's either that or pay the bills.
Paying the bills is probably the best option here. Just saying.
Yeah,
I'm
you
still in
guys.
high school. My parents pay my bills. I have money for jerseys. I was saving that. I knew they were coming out with these new jerseys. I've been saving that up for a while.
Enjoy it while you can, man. Enjoy it while you can.
Seriously.
Yeah, I have another, not even 12 months,
There you go.
probably.
At least you guys aren't paying in Canadian dollars.
Oh, yeah.
I
Oh,
could be. I might be going up there for school, so don't rule that out.
Well,
that wasn't so encouraging.
All right. In my opinion, I'm not biased at all in saying this, but the Penguins did have the best rebrand of the season. Personally,
Oh my god.
yeah, I know. Here we go.
3-1.
But
Oh
personally,
my
the only
God.
reason is because the other two teams disappointed me big time.
How did Toronto? Just out of curiosity.
Toronto, the problem with Toronto's rebrand is that with the new jerseys, like their current jerseys were so good that it's hard to top those. And having the one thicker
Bottom
hem stripe instead of the two stripes that were on par with the arm stripes, it just doesn't look the same. Well, obviously, but it doesn't have that same feeling,
Yeah.
It just
I feel
seemed
like I'm in
kind
my
of forced.
Yeah, it was definitely forced.
Like the logo, like don't get me wrong, I think the new logo is superior.
Oh,
It is.
absolutely.
I think we can all agree on that. This new logo is gorgeous.
I feel like I'm in the minority when I say that I feel like the Maple Leafs old jerseys were looking kind of dated, but I'm honestly not sure if that was just the logo or not.
It might have been the logo. That
It
logo
was the
was
logo.
It probably was.
Definitely.
that logo hadn't been changed in 45 years. So
It was almost
And the Panthers
eligible for AARP.
kind of disappointed me because one of my biggest pet peeves that the Oilers brought out on me were the numbers on the shoulders. And
that's interesting because I love numbers on the shoulders, or at least the idea of it.
I can't stand it. I cannot stand it at all. And that combined with the alternate logos on the sleeves of the jerseys itself, I mean, it's an interesting idea. It definitely goes with the rebrand theme that they were trying to get with the military and stuff and the airborne division. But I don't think it works, to be honest with you.
I don't know if this will tie into a future topic, but do you think that the Thunderbirds did it better?
I didn't see their new jerseys, actually. We're going to get to that in a moment, by the way.
Did they unveil their new jerseys?
Yeah, it's remember the Sens template, the Sens jersey?
Uh-huh.
The current one?
Oh, yeah, the one that the
script.
Yeah, the one that said Sens on it.
Yeah, it's that template.
Sens use it right now, too.
How have I not seen these?
I need to look this up right now. All right.
I looked up their name. And
let's talk about the worst rebrand.
Worst rebrand?
Steve.
We talking NHL-wise?
Yes, still NHL at the moment. We'll get to the lower
leagues. This looks like the Milwaukee Admirals template from last year.
So if we're going rebrand, are we also talking like the anniversary jerseys?
Not quite yet. We have a different segment for that.
Damn, I had a hands down one too.
Okay.
And I bet you could figure that one out.
Yeah, probably. So, but of the main rebrands themselves,
I think Toronto.
Toronto.
Like I just said, it was kind of like you had such a good logo, and you're putting emphasis on it, but like the double stripes on the arm and that big thick hem stripe, it's like almost an eyesore. And it's almost like a bother to look at. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things where if someone had OCD, they would go nuts having to stare at that.
One way to put it. Let's go with Sean now. Worst rebrand.
I'm going to say it, and it's not to say that these jerseys are bad by any means. I just wish you got something new. It's just Pittsburgh. It was so predictable. We've been seeing it for 2 or 3 years now. The jerseys are, to me at least, they're nothing particularly special. I get why Pittsburgh fans will love this.
Right.
But from an outsider's perspective, I think they could have made Vegas Gold work, or at least give us a new jersey to work with. As is, it seems like the Capitals alternate. It's the same thing. That the white. It was nice as an alternate, but then when they brought the red one in, people were just sort of like, okay, and.
Yeah, I can understand that sentiment.
Yeah, I can side with you on all of that.
I agree with you on that.
I definitely wouldn't have minded seeing something new.
I'll agree with that.
Considering what they had before, I'm completely okay with this. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a hands-down improvement. Arguably the biggest improvement. Actually, it's not even arguable. I think that it is objectively the biggest improvement.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess this is all subjective, but
right.
If you look at this from the popular
viewpoint,
then yeah, it's the biggest improvement.
If I could just say something,
go for it.
The only improvement that's going to be this season is the jerseys, because they just changed the name of the arena.
Oh, you don't like the name? I love that name.
No, I don't like it at all. Why couldn't they just shorten it to PPG?
Why not just call it the Igloo?
Oh, gee, I wonder why.
Anyway, Brendan.
Oh, worst rebrand. I guess I'd have to say Toronto, not because it was a bad rebrand, because I love the logo, but
it's the worst of the best.
Yeah, basically. And like we've mentioned, the thickness of the stripes is kind of annoying, but I'll be honest, it's not quite as annoying when you see it on the ice. But you still do notice it a little bit, especially if you have an eye for jerseys like we do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't really call it bad at all. Just that one negative is worse than the other positives.
Yeah.
I could also put Pittsburgh in there for not coming up with anything new whatsoever.
Right.
But I think it looks good, so I'm not going to say that. And I'm biased, so.
Yeah, with Pittsburgh, and same thing when the Islanders rebranded from the Navy. Sometimes you just have to go with what works and what has worked.
Yep.
I had already mentioned that I think the worst rebrand was the Toronto Maple Leafs. Huge letdown on that. So let's move on to the next topic here, which is the minor leagues and juniors and stuff. Best and worst rebrands there, Steve.
Well, I did like how Charlottetown finally put their main logo on the front of their jerseys now. that was something that I was happy about. Otherwise, shoot, this is hard.
Yeah.
There were so many of them.
I'm on aesthetics right now just so that way I can remember all of the rebrands that happened.
I don't think you can say that on here.
You idiot! You broke the rule!
I know Ryan's mentioned it, it's not ill will between you guys, or between them. So,
Yeah, it's just more
if
so.
not, cut it out, Ryan.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll
you
definitely
can edit
cut
this,
it out.
just cut it. I'm on unnameable website.
Unnameable.
You can cut all this if you want, Ryan.
Crap. Alright, come back to me, because I gotta look too.
Okay.
All right, I got mine right off the bat.
Let's see.
Okay, go for it.
On Tucson and Springfield.
It's close between Toronto and Springfield. Springfield's logos are absolute. The logo itself is beautiful, but that script that they use is gorgeous, and the Marley's logo. It is a very simple redesign, but it looks so good. And again, it's completely predictable. It's their alternate they've had since 2012. People knew that they were going to go back to that, but even so,
I'd agree with the Marleys.
Yeah.
I really like what the Marleys did with their new logo. Just, I can already tell you who I know is probably one of the worst.
I think we all know who the worst is.
Wasn't there another team that came out with a really bad rebrand besides the one that we're all thinking of?
The Tucson Roadrunners, but we don't know what their jerseys look like.
Right.
There's nothing. Even in NHL 17, it's Blackhawks template with EA Sports logo on it. So
Ew.
That's strange.
Looks
Yeah.
I'm surprised they don't at least have the logo.
Well, they have the logo, and it's exactly what you'd expect. It's the Roadrunners. We've seen it
right.
a dozen times at least, but just nothing on the jersey. So the jerseys might be fine.
We'll see. Maybe they just end up being Coyotes copies.
Even then, that's not too bad.
Right.
Predictable, a shame, but not as bad as what we're all thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And they haven't even taken to the ice yet.
true.
Yeah.
I doubt it, but I wonder if the jersey's going to look like it does on the logo. Like the maroon burgundy
That's
brick
true.
color they use with
It could mirror it.
one single sand stripe across, or looks like a sand-colored stripe across the hem, arms, and socks.
It's not too bad.
That wouldn't be bad at all. Kind of
No.
plain, but not bad at all.
No, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It should be interesting to have a logo with the jersey you're wearing on it.
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting. And I think that was what I was going for when I designed my contest entry for that. Personally, what I think was one of the better rebrands in minor hockey is the Lake Erie Monsters, or as I should refer to them now, is officially the Cleveland Monsters.
You really think that?
Yeah, because the fact that they had to include the word Cleveland in the logo when they were still referred to as the Lake Erie Monsters just irritated me. And now they decided to finally pick one and stick with it. The jerseys they could be worse. They're built on the original Blues template, but I mean, they're a slight improvement over what they had originally.
The jerseys they had weren't bad.
They weren't bad.
No, it's just they were out of date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Steve, you find one yet?
I'm gonna have to go with the Marleys on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just. I like what they did. Just. I don't know. Not really much I can say. It's. You guys already talked about, so.
Personally, one that I'm surprised that I haven't heard from anyone yet is the Hamilton Bulldogs.
The jerseys.
Jerseys and logo, because they switched from the red and blue to the black and gold.
Yeah, I
I
completely
really-
forgot about that until you mentioned it.
I really like the white jersey.
Yes.
It's a really interesting take on the Penguins design.
It's
Yeah.
it's such a simple change, but
Yeah.
it makes it its own thing.
Right.
Yeah. It makes it look completely different.
Like, if the Penguins didn't have the historical
Aspect.
design behind them, that could possibly fix that black and yellow problem I was talking about earlier.
I completely agree. Let's move on to our next topic here, which is the best and worst anniversary logos and
Hey,
jersey
we didn't
and
say the
subsequent
worst
jersey
of the
designs.
juniors.
Belleville Senators next,
I was
hands
gonna-
down, because we know what we're going to get.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're going to
Okay.
get.
We're gonna get Ottawa Senators jerseys.
We're going to get. Who's going to buy that?
No one. It's like in USL when they have the MLS 2 clubs like Red Bulls 2 or Sounders 2 or stuff.
Yeah.
We know what we're gonna get with that. So,
I
I'm
was
happy.
Maybe somebody who wanted an Ottawa jersey would buy it.
I'm gonna say this: Wheeling Nailers. They're dark
Really?
jerseys. Horrible. Hate them.
You think?
I absolutely hate them. I am a Nailers fan, but I despise those black jerseys.
The black jerseys I can side with you on. The white ones, I remember they
white
were
ones-
pretty
the
good.
white
I like
ones were tame,
Yeah.
and I like them, but I just
Mhm.
have you seen the back of the Wheeling Nailers jerseys? It's
I am
like,
looking up pictures now to try to
like
find them
the
again.
back is Vegas gold, and then they have white lettering. Like they showed pictures from NHL 17, and it's a white lettering on the name on a Vegas gold nameplate.
Ooh,
Oh no! I haven't.
why?
And this is on the white jersey.
No, this is on the dark jersey.
Okay. I
Like-
think. You know, I'm gonna bring this up now, and I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. But if we go to the Cornwall Nationals, in the
Oh
FHL,
my god!
what does that fall into? Personally, I love it.
That falls into nationalism, patriotism, whatever you want to call it. That's the hey, we're the only Canadian team, so let's play off of that card.
It's the FHL. I mean, you can't fault them. Or no, not the
Yeah.
You can't fault them. It's a decent logo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's a decent
beautiful
logo, but the thing about the jerseys is that they're just so out there, and this isn't an alternate. This is every game.
yeah,
I'm impressed, honestly, that someone's doing this.
well, do you remember the Dayton Demolition who are not playing this upcoming year?
Oh my goodness, yes.
And I believe it was you Jets that called it a dumpster fire.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I did refer to them, and I said that the jerseys, it's the inverse, though. It was a terrible logo on plain jersey. Now we get the Nationals, but the difference being is that
It's a
This
good
is
logo on a horrible jersey.
exactly, but it's such a horrible jersey. I don't know what to think of it. I couldn't rate it. There was no way I could come up with a number that justified in my head. I had to rate it fun. It's fun.
No, it's that roller hockey, like 90s RHI style.
You're exactly right. It's that, and they're the only team that's doing it, so have at it.
True.
The thing is that now people know who you are.
Yeah, but in a sense, that could be a good or bad thing.
Yeah, especially in a league like the Federal League where they need all the recognition they could get.
I'm trying to find the post that this was on again, just so I can refresh, or just so I can have a refresher.
Yeah.
Wait,
Anybody
which
remember the title of it? The
Which
Cornwall?
one?
The Cornwall one?
Oh, that was wasn't that a week ago or something?
No, it was
That soon ago?
longer than that.
Hey.
No, it's much longer than that. The post is called...
It was you that wrote it, right?
I did, yeah. The D-Edge 3. It's Monday, September 19th.
Okay.
I reviewed the Knoxville Ice Bears, the Kingston Frontenacs thing,
Oh God, more teams to look at in the minors.
the Nationals, and then if we want to talk about the weirdest thing to come out of the minors, that Chicago Wolves alternate that's based on the Columbus All-Star Game jerseys.
Reminds me of the Oil Kings in a way too. That neon green just out of nowhere.
Yeah, with that black and neon green one.
I did, those All-Star Game jerseys grew on me the year after, and it was just like, okay, they're not the worst thing in the world. But the Wolves have worn the same thing for 25 years. Why ruin it?
Yeah. I guess you could argue that.
True.
All right. Let's move on to the anniversaries. As we all know, this season is going to be the 50th anniversary of the first expansion in the NHL. Produced 6 teams, and I think we only have 4 of them left. So, of those 4, what does everyone think? We had a few jerseys unveiled in addition to anniversary logos. So let's get to the logos first. Best logos. Let's go with Steve first.
And once again, I'm going to sound biased on this.
Pittsburgh Penguins.
I thought the Penguins did a really good job. I thought it was especially funny that they had to redo it. Because
I was about to say, I'm a huge fan of the unused logo out of the bunch.
Yeah, that one was a lot nicer.
As soon as I saw it in the unused logo section on
Site.
On a different site.
Sorry, I should have thought about that a bit more before I said it, but it made me happy as soon as I saw that.
Yeah, but
I will say this though.
Also, honestly, sorry, Phil, just real quick.
Okay, I will say this though. The one thing I am thankful for with the Penguins winning the Cup is beating the Rangers en route to it.
Oh yeah.
So we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
But I'd also got to say that I think the Flyers did a decent job too on there.
Oh, absolutely.
I liked it because I liked how they had that little
the keystone?
instead of making how the keystone has a point at the bottom. That's nice instead of just keeping it like a normal keystone where it's flat at the bottom.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Sean.
I'm going to say the same thing, but I slightly further Phillies a little more. I just like the colors more. I like the way that the darker gold looks with the orange. But Pittsburgh also great. LA's mediocre. St. Louis is all right. They're just so plain.
It is. It's like, let's see.
LA's is so busy.
50. Our logo. Done.
That's exactly it. Is that it's two opposite problems. Is that St. Louis's is so plain, and then LA's is very busy. But one thing I do like about LA's is the black, silver, and gold vintage crown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's what slightly puts it above St. Louis's. Is that you got something nice out of it. But yeah, Philly, Pittsburgh, and then a long way down you get the other two.
Yeah, the vintage crowd definitely looks nice. Brendan.
Just before I say this, I think I saw a tweet or something like that at one point about St. Louis's logo on how it looks like something a high school student put together in 5 minutes the period before they had something due because they forgot to do it.
Yeah.
See, but you being a high school student yourself, you probably could have done a better job.
I think you're giving them too much credit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't.
Let's say the break walking in the hallway before they got to that class.
It's the gold logo is the weirdest one. I'm not usually one to say, oh, don't gold your logos, but that St. Louis Blue Note looks so bad with the blue numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you on that. So I think it's universal at this point that the worst one is the St. Louis because of how lazy they were. But but I'm going to pick Philadelphia as my number one for that one.
I definitely think the state of Pennsylvania really
they
raised
nailed
the bar on this one.
Absolutely nailed it.
Yeah.
As much as I hate to admit the Philly one, they really did a
Yeah.
job. They probably hired someone else in Philly to do it.
They probably hired someone from Pittsburgh.
Having lived there for 2 years, I can confirm that. So, with these anniversary logos, we've also had 2 teams introduce anniversary jerseys, Los Angeles and Philadelphia.
Could you consider the Penguins rebrand anniversary jerseys, in a sense?
Not entirely, because we kind of saw it coming with the alternate coming from last year.
I almost wonder if they planned this ahead of time for their 50th year. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
It wouldn't surprise me at all either, but I think
it's coincidental.
Coincidental, yeah. Especially since we may have something coming up with the Penguins.
Exactly.
So, Steve, which jersey is better in your opinion? LA's anniversary jersey or Philadelphia?
I like LA's better personally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Philadelphia did a really good job with it, but I mean, just LA's appeals more to me.
Interesting.
I'm sorry, I can't give a better explanation why. Yeah. It might be my deep rooted hatred, but
and we all have those.
All right, let's go with Sean. Who did it better?
They're 2 completely separate jerseys, and that Philly's, the main complaint is that they're so plain, and LA's is that it's too busy. Again, it's the color scheme, I think, that sways me for Philly. I really like the gold and the gray and the orange.
Yeah, because Anaheim proved that it can work.
Exactly, and in this case, I think it works better because there's minimal black outside of where it needs to be. I just wish they didn't. I know why they do it. I hate that they do it, but the name bar. I just wish that they had given us a regular old name bar.
I can understand that sentiment. Brendan.
I'm just going to go off of that. I think the name bar honestly ruins Philly's jerseys for me. I hate the back of the jersey just looks so ugly to me with the gold numbers and then the black name bar white. I don't know what it is about it, but it just looks so ugly to me. But aside from that, I guess the Philly jersey isn't too bad. I know a lot of people on Twitter were saying, Philly's trying to copy the Penguins now with gold. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I guess you always have those people, right?
Yeah.
But I think I like
That's
LA
Twitter
better
for you.
just because in a way they're simpler. Oh, okay. Now, I can't say that. Yeah, I don't really know what my explanation is.
Can we all agree that if Pittsburgh comes out with the double blue script jersey, that'll be the best one?
Ooh, it depends on what they do
If
with
it's
it.
a
Because
direct,
all we saw right
it's
now
a
is a
direct
T-shirt.
throwback.
I think it's got to be a direct throwback. They might scrap the rounded numbers. It'd be a shame if they did, but if they give us that striping, then I think we're looking at something that honestly could be a permanent alternate for a few seasons.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Didn't they get rid of the blue alternates because they thought that people were getting hurt because of it?
They got rid of the 2011 Winter Classic one because Crosby kept getting hurt in it.
Oh.
So it's maybe not the blue ones in specific, it's just those blue ones.
It's
right,
that.
Yeah,
So I was going to say, maybe I was thinking that could cause a problem with bringing back other blue jerseys, but maybe not.
They won the
blue jerseys they dumped because of the navy blue jerseys.
Yeah, the powder blue ones were popular, and they won the cup in seasons that they wore them. So
right,
yeah,
or in one of the seasons.
In one of the seasons, yeah, and the other one they made to the cup finals. So
yeah,
I don't think that. And those are popular jerseys. People like them, but
I love them.
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah,
so do I.
That's my Pens jersey.
I think I got it for Christmas the year that Winter Classic happened.
Yeah.
I traded a Lemieux Heroes of Hockey jersey for it.
Mm-hmm. For me personally, I think Philadelphia did the better job. I know it's an unpopular opinion here, obviously, And as much as I like LA going with a gray jersey, because we saw that it can work with the first Stadium Series game against the Ducks. They did a great job with that one.
Agreed.
But the striping on the LA jersey is a little too inconsistent for me, in my opinion. Philadelphia's jerseys, I wish they could have maybe just a tad more black, either on the hem or on the shoulders. But other than that, I think they nailed it. Say what you want about the off-colored nameplates. I'm okay with it because it's Philly's thing. The way that they use the gold with the names and numbers and the captain's patches, absolutely brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the gold would look better, honestly, if it was mainly just the logo trim, maybe the smaller numbers, but then that would be a bit inconsistent. I think it would look better more with just a trim than it would filling in the numbers and the C-patch.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up because I tried playing with it for a little bit to see if I could work any more gold into the striping and stuff, and I couldn't find a way to do it without it looking
Different.
like, well, not even just different, but like
I'm pretty sure if you're changing the jersey,
several
it's gonna look
steps
different.
worse.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you change? You'd have to change the jersey. It's like it wouldn't look as simple as it does if you were to add it in.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Imagine the Kings jersey, though, if that black was purple. Or foreign blue, as they'd like to call it.
That's an interesting take.
I think.
I remember not long after the jersey was unveiled, I got a Twitter message from a Kings fan saying that he hated it and wishes that was purple. So,
The only change
so much
I'd
better.
make, the only change I make to that Kings jersey is that vintage crown. Just that should be the logo, nothing else.
Yeah, I could probably see that.
Yeah. I agree.
Even just putting the shield like they did with the anniversary logo, I think that would still look good.
Yeah.
I should say better, maybe not
Right.
good.
But if you're going to do that, maybe find a way to include some gold in the striping as well.
Yeah.
They probably could have put it in between the arm stripes if they really wanted to.
Oh, absolutely.
The thing about that jersey is just that everything's supposed to have a meaning behind it.
Right.
So I get where they're coming from on that, but when you do that, you're limiting yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Alrighty. And one last anniversary logo that we need to get into. The New York Rangers, as much as I hate them, they're celebrating their 90th anniversary. So, and they unveiled a logo that I think was even a shade worse than St. Louis.
Let's take a... Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. A little hot take there.
That's...
Steve,
Oh.
you've seen that anniversary logo. What are your thoughts on that?
What they decided to do was someone like, oh, we don't have money in the budget, so let's just put an old Rangers logo as an O.
Yeah, that's the other problem I have.
Like, did they just not want to try on this one? Because the one for 85 was pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, we did so good for the 85th one. I don't think we need to do that good for 90. No one's going to care.
No, it's exactly that. It's that I feel like no matter what, it would have been, unless they just copied the 85th and put 90 into it, it would have been the same. It would have been like, oh, it's a downgrade from 85. But
I would not be opposed to that, to be honest with you.
I agree. When you get it, the thing is that I'm looking at the Rangers anniversary logos for 50, 70, 75, 85, and 90.
Mm-hmm.
They've never really had a good one aside from 85. In fact, I would argue that this is probably their second best one.
That's not saying much, though.
That's not saying much. But it's just so weird seeing a shield shape and you're supposed to look and go, nope, that's a 0.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then just the 9 with it.
Yeah, just it looks like Times New Roman 9.
It is Times New Roman, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it is. This looks like something I could make in paint.
Seriously.
Yeah. Brendan, your thoughts on that?
Just type a 9 and put a little gradient below it. Done.
What, feel like
So if we're saying
like
the St. Louis
Senators?
Blues, if we're saying the Blues logo was created in the 4 minutes before class started, would this one be rushing to get it done when you're in the classroom before the teacher, before the bell rings?
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
But you know what? It's not the worst. There's one that we saw last year that's going to be used this year, and I think yeah.
The Senators.
The Ottawa Senators is the equivalent.
unnecessarily chromed.
Exactly.
Didn't they change it though? I thought they
Nope.
fixed that.
Nope.
No?
So, yeah, this is.
No,
This-
they didn't fix it.
It's so bad.
How are they going to stitch it? How?
How it's gonna
You know
stick
what
out.
they're probably going to screen print it onto a patch like they did for the Stadium Series.
So they're
jerseys.
going to like sublimate
Oh,
a
God.
patch? They're going
What's that?
to have like a sublimated patch. Oh my god.
I mean, I guess so. Because of the two Penguins fans here, which one of you guys owns a Stadium Series jersey from the game at Soldier Field?
That's a jersey.
I bought one for my nephew.
Okay, so you saw what they did with the logo on that. I have
Yeah.
an Islanders Stadium Series jersey, and they did the same exact thing. So I expect them to do that with the Senators patch.
Yeah. I'm not
At least
looking
it's just
forward
a
to
tiny
that.
patch on the jersey.
It's still gonna stick out so
It
much.
is, but it's better than the primary logo on the
A
jersey.
tiny patch on a bad jersey.
And look what the Sens wear now. It's the best of that template that they've had in the NHL, I think. But again, not saying much. And now you're going to put that on it?
Honestly, if you look at all their anniversary logos so far, really the only one that looks decent is the 20th.
You don't like the 10th?
Yeah, I don't mind
I like
the
the
10th.
I
The
love
10th,
the
the
10th.
10th is creative. I'll give it that. It's creative, but I'm just like, I'm not fully there on it.
It's dated.
Yes.
Yes.
I think that's exactly
it,
what
was. It was dated.
Hence
for
why
the
it was
time.
15 years ago, too.
Yeah, no, exactly. When that came out, that was probably the level of anniversary logo you wanted to be at.
True.
Right.
But oh wow, I'm sorry to bring that up, the Sense logo up, but it just clicked in the back of my head. I'm like, oh no.
Well,
I
I had the dishonor of a little more than a week ago sitting at Madison Square Garden during an Islanders-Rangers preseason. Only time I'll probably be able to afford to go to the Garden anyway. And just seeing that logo in the middle of the ice, between that and listening to Rangers fans sing that goal song 5 times,
Hey, hey,
it's just
hey, hey, hey.
it was frustrating, both visually and seeing everyone on the Islanders except for their normal starters play poorly, and it was just bad.
It's preseason.
Yeah, I know it's preseason,
What
but
can you do?
and I'm looking at individual performances as you should do in the preseason. Leddy was great, Hamonic was great, Ladd was great, but the guys that I'm trying to pay attention to, like Mike Dalcol, was invisible. Barzal was okay, but he made a lot of crucial mistakes. So it wasn't pleasing to watch.
Oh.
So speaking of preseason, now that the season is only a few days away, let's make our picks for the season. All right? Give us your top 3 in each division and your 2 wild card spots. Let's go with Steve.
I'm going to say Pittsburgh, Washington, and shit. I haven't thought that far yet.
Okay.
We gonna need that goal horn?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna need that goal. We're gonna need that goal. We've needed that for like the past half hour. I'd say my 2 wild cards would probably be Columbus
Wow.
and I'm gonna say Toronto.
Toronto.
It's not really a controversial pick from what I've seen, though.
Really?
Yeah, from what I've seen from other people, EA, the NHL 17 sim had them as a second wildcard team.
I mean,
It's not impossible.
Steve, you forgot third in the Metro.
Oh, right. Probably the Islanders.
All right. So for the Atlantic, you have Toronto finishing in the 4th spot to get that second wild card. Who are your top 3?
Top 3. I'm gonna say Florida.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna go with Boston.
Really?
What do you mean, ew?
No, I didn't say ew. I said really.
I said ooh.
I heard
Oh.
ooh.
Okay.
Like you were disgusted.
No, that wasn't a disc. It was just that's interesting.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, it's okay.
And then I'm gonna say Montreal for the 3rd.
All right. Now let's go out west.
Out west, you want to start Pacific or Central?
That's up to you.
All right, for Central, I'm gonna say Nashville, St. Louis, Chicago.
Okay. Pacific.
I'm gonna say San Jose, Los Angeles, and Anaheim.
All right. And your 2 wild cards.
My 2 wild cards would. For that, I'm gonna have to say. Let me think here. Probably Edmonton.
Okay.
Uh,
A little taken aback by that.
what? A guy can't
Edmonton.
dream. A guy can't dream.
Well,
Fair enough.
I mean, I could dream, but
Again, in the NHL 17 sim, they got out of the first round,
yeah.
but that sim had Anaheim finishing in second last in the West.
What the hell?
So I know it must have been injuries.
I mean, they've got the players. They just don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
At least, especially on the offensive end, they've got the players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And so your second wild card.
Second.
You've got Edmonton for 1.
Winnipeg.
Sure. Why not?
Why not?
Let's do Winnipeg.
Perfect. I like the sound.
Let's do Winnipeg because they have awesome Heritage Classic jerseys. Oh, I'm
They have
sorry.
awesome double blue jerseys.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sean.
Okay. My East picks, I already made them in my post. I have Florida winning the Atlantic, Tampa second, Montreal third.
Okay.
Buffalo with the wild card spot.
Okay.
And I have in the Metropolitan, we got Pittsburgh, Washington, and the Islanders, 1, 2, 3. And then in the wild card spot there, we got Carolina.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Interesting.
It's,
All right.
That's my bold pick for the. I don't know. I think we can all agree Buffalo making the playoffs isn't a bold pick. Don't be surprised if they do. But don't be surprised.
I would beg to differ. All right.
Central, Nashville, Chicago, Dallas, Winnipeg in the wild card.
Okay.
And then Pacific, I got Anaheim, San Jose, Calgary, and then wild card there, LA.
All right. Brendan.
All right, well, I'll start off with Metropolitan. Let's say Penguins for the Cup. Repeat.
Wow. I didn't even ask.
They're not there already.
You already crowned the Pens again. Okay.
Maybe I'm a little bit biased. Just a little.
A little.
I'll talk about that more if we're going to get to that later.
We have a playoff podcast in which you can discuss all about that.
I was just going to say, if somebody told me that it happened, I wouldn't be surprised. If somebody said it didn't happen, I wouldn't be surprised. It's a hard trophy to win.
Oh, absolutely.
I could
but I
see
think
it
they're
happening.
the best odds.
With the team that they have now, I could easily see it. But
Absolutely.
considering that, I'm going to put them at the top of the Metro,
Okay.
then Washington, Islanders. I'm pretty sure what everybody said that so far.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then for the Atlantic, I'm going to put Tampa, then Florida, and then I think I'm just going to be bold and say Buffalo.
Buffalo 3. All right. And your wild card picks?
I'm going to say New Jersey and either Montreal or Detroit. There's a lot of teams actually that could get in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
New Jersey, Detroit, Montreal, or Toronto.
There's a lot of middle of the pack Eastern Conference teams this year.
Agreed.
All right, let's head out west.
Good for Central, I'll say Dallas, St. Louis, Nashville.
Okay.
Pacific, I'll go San Jose, Anaheim, and then LA.
All right.
Wild card, I'll say Chicago, and I'll be bold again, Edmonton.
Edmonton. All right. So, from what my picks, as some of you guys have seen on the blog, I've got Washington winning the division because they've always been a regular season team, right?
Agreed.
Pittsburgh
Yeah.
2, Islanders 3rd. In the Atlantic, we got Florida, Tampa Bay, and Montreal. I see Montreal making a huge rebound after last year.
Yep.
Wild card, both of them are going to come out of the Metro. New Jersey and the Rangers. The Adam Hall trade for the Devils is just a huge, huge upgrade from something they were missing last year, which is support for Corey Schneider. There's no question that Schneider was probably top 3 goalie in the league last year, but the Devils couldn't win games because they didn't have anyone to score goals.
Can he carry a team, though?
Well,
He's not Price.
He's not Price, but Schneider has shown that based on where the Devils finished last year, only maybe a few points out of that last wild card spot, that he probably can carry a team almost as much as Lundqvist can.
I think he's the best goalie right now in the Metropolitan Division.
Oh, no question.
No, I think that we might see something from Matt Murray. We could.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. Braden Holtby, same thing.
Right. And Lundqvist is on the decline, in my opinion.
Oh, I think that's apparent based on his World Cup performance.
Yeah. The thing is, though, I look at the World Cup as kind of a glorified preseason, so I wouldn't necessarily base it off that. Central Division, I got Dallas number 1, Nashville 2, and St. Louis 3. Dallas was way too dominant last year to finish outside of the 1 spot for me this year.
What about goaltending?
Well, that's what I'm going to say. Their offense is so potent that they'll cruise to the number 1 spot, but they won't go that far in the postseason.
I think they'll make a trade for Neuwirth.
For Neuwirth?
I think so.
All right. Well, may I interest you in this? If you're the Dallas Stars, you look at the New York Islanders, and you see that they have 3 goaltenders at this point, Berube, Halak, and Greiss. Do you go after one of them?
I would rather have Neuwirth than Greiss, but it's considering how many teams need a better goal to need an upgrade in net. Both those guys will have new teams, I think. Unless the Islanders decide to unload Halak, which I see unlikely.
I mean, I could see it, but I could also see the fan base ride over it. But then again, they ride over anything.
But then again, St. Louis unloaded Brian Elliott.
Yeah, they did.
Which was, I think we can all agree, a terrible decision.
But you also have Jake Allen there, who's...
he's good, but I just don't know how he can handle being the 1A starter.
Yeah. Well, you know how the saying goes, if you have 2 goalies, you have none.
Agreed.
So I think St. Louis was kind of forced to dump one of them. Go ahead.
I see the logic in that, but the other guy that I'm thinking of right now that might interest Dallas if they really want to make that number 1 run is Scott Darling.
Ooh. Yeah, I could see that.
I hate to say it, but what about the Penguins?
Marc-Andre Fleury.
Something doesn't get, something doesn't get situated by the trade deadline, they could see Fleury gone, Murray, somebody.
Oh, I absolutely have Fleury getting traded. No question about it.
Yeah, I think that's a given. Where he goes, you know what? I think he might end up Vancouver.
Yeah, I can see that.
And the Penguins take Markstrom just because I think we can all agree Vancouver is going to get the number 1 overall pick this year, or at least have the number 1 draft lottery spot.
Right.
And they might, honestly, I can see the Penguins.
Either them or Carolina. Or Ottawa.
Ottawa, yeah. No, I got Carolina in a wild card spot. I'm being extremely optimistic, but yeah, I could totally see the Penguins picking up a aging guy like Anderson and Miller because they have Murray.
Right.
Not to mention what they have in the AHL. They were able to unload Zekov to LA, which I thought was a good move by the Kings because if Jonathan Quick goes down, there you go.
You have a decent backup there.
Exactly.
Speaking of the Kings, I have them finishing third behind Anaheim at number 1 and San Jose number 2 in the Pacific. And your 2 wild card spots will both be in the Central, Chicago and Minnesota. So now that we got the season picks out of the way, this is going to be interesting. All right. So our first question comes from, or first 3 questions I'll say, comes from Burkus Circus. All right. Do you think the NHL Stadium Series should go back to having multiple games per season or stay with just 1? Let's go with Steve.
I say no more than 2.
It's reasonable. Sean?
Considering it took us so long to hear about the Stadium Series this year, I feel like, and again, it is a different year because we have the extra they have the extra outdoor game in Toronto, but I think that at this point, the Stadium Series isn't what it was when it first came out.
I completely agree with that, and the telltale sign of that was Minnesota not selling out.
Yeah, that was. Yeah. No, granted that it wasn't. Colorado-Detroit was a fantastic game.
Oh yeah.
Minnesota-Chicago was not.
It wasn't a good game, but it's still in an area like Minnesota. You would expect that to sell out.
I completely agree. I think that if they want to do this, they need to pick their matchups better. Like Pittsburgh, Philadelphia for one.
Well, we're already going to have that.
Well, exactly.
We're giving Chicago a freaking break from an outdoor game.
No, we're not. They're the Winter Classic.
Yep. I know. Give them a break one of these.
Please.
Like, seriously.
Yep.
I'm pretty darn sure that those players are tired of having to play that extra game outdoors.
And poor former HJC writer Dylan Alexander having to buy another outdoor jersey.
Oh,
poor guy. I feel
what a shame.
I know he's going to listen to this. I hope he does. And his closet must be he must have a separate rack of here's my just Stadium Series jerseys. Winter Classic, and he's got to be running out of names without duplicates.
Oh, and by the way, and full of Ice Hogs jerseys too.
Oh,
the copies of the Stadium Series jerseys that they get.
Yeah, so this is, and I couldn't imagine owning all of them. But year after, they have to be running out of designs.
Yes, well, you saw that with the Winter Classic in Washington.
Granted, I own that jersey. I love it, but didn't own a Blackhawk jersey until I bought it.
Right.
So, but if I'm your average Blackhawks fan, I'm going to look at that and go, I have that jersey already. It's called their away.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Especially if you're a casual fan who doesn't pay much attention to the differences in jerseys, the subtle differences.
Right.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder how many casual fans tuned into that game and were like, is this just a regular jersey or what?
Right. All right. Brendan, your thoughts on this?
I think that they should keep it to one game a year max. At first, it was better to have a lot of games because it was new and people were excited about it. But now that it's a few years old, it's just kind of, okay, this is just happening again. It's not too exciting. It's a little bit more exciting this year since it's in Pittsburgh. I'd like to go if I can.
Right.
But for out-of-market people, it's probably not as exciting, So keep it to 1 year, maybe keep the excitement as high as possible. And like it mentioned earlier, you got to pick the matchup well. Nobody's going to want to watch, like, let's say, Arizona and I would say Florida, but they're getting better. But you get the point I'm trying to make.
No, a Tampa-Florida matchup would be honestly great.
Tampa-Florida matchup would be great.
Yeah, that'd be where I'd watch that.
Well,
But would the casual hockey fan watch that in the United States? That's the thing. I know you guys are crazy up in Canada for hockey, but would the casual hockey fan in the United States watch that?
I was going to say, look at what the AHL did last year. They held an outdoor hockey game in California, and then they're doing it again this year.
They're doing it in Bakersfield, yeah.
Yeah, in Bakersfield, one of the freaking hottest places in California. There's a reason why their baseball team always started their games at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, they need, last year was I think the other thing is that they need to, the thing that's going to get people excited about it, I think, is unveiling their jerseys, and we haven't seen anything yet aside from what I think we can all agree is a gorgeous logo.
Right.
Yep.
Personally, I think that having 2 would be okay, but no more than that. I'm completely on board with Steve's idea on this. No more than 2.
Like
we all know
one for
5.
East and one for West.
Yes.
That's a good idea. Or 1 early season, 1 late season, and then have the Winter Classic in the sort of middle.
Right, but I would also argue that you can't have the Stadium Series games until after the Winter Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see why people would think that.
Have them both in February or something. Even on consecutive days, too. You'd have, back-to-back Stadium Series games.
Yeah, have one filmed at, 1 o'clock over on the East Coast, and then come, 4 o'clock over on the West Coast or something.
Or Saturday, Islanders Rangers at Citi Field or something. And Sunday, you get Sharks Kings back in LA or something.
Yeah.
Just spitballing out there. I know both of those matchups were used, but
they work.
Yeah. It would have been sweet to see the Flyers and Penguins play in Happy Valley.
Oh, that would.
I think a lot of people wanted to see that.
Yeah, a lot of people wanted to see that, including the NHL, from what I heard. But Penn State was a little exorbitant with their field usage price.
Or no, yeah, you're right. It wasn't.
That and their demands were a little much.
I'm okay with it in Pittsburgh just because it makes it easier for me to go to the game, but who knows, I'm probably able to go to it anyways.
Right, but Flyer fans don't exactly feel those sentiments,
Oh yeah, no, that was a completely biased comment.
Yeah, obviously.
But, well, all the Flyer fans are going to stay out by the airport because they want to stay as far away from Pittsburgh as possible.
Oh yeah.
Since you guys, your country gets outdoor games that aren't no Heritage Classic, what do you guys prefer, football fields or baseball fields?
Football.
No question.
Yeah. Completely agree with that. I don't get...
Just because of the shape of the field.
No, exactly. Because wasn't, if I remember correctly, the outdoor game in Washington was at the Nationals Park?
Yes.
That looked so weird.
It did. And I think a lot of the reason why you can do that, you can see with any New York City FC home match over in MLS. They try to fit a rectangular soccer field within a baseball stadium.
How does that work? I
don't know.
Even realize...
I'm not a New York City fan. I don't know how that works.
Yeah,
they did it in Toronto with the Raptors in the 90s.
Yeah, that's true.
They played Raptors games out of the Sky Dome.
They did.
It's usually done in a desperation.
Why couldn't they just play at Maple Leaf Gardens or ACC?
ACC hadn't built that.
Don't they play? Don't they do college out at Lucas Oil? God, we're getting away from hockey, guys.
Yeah. All right.
On the subject of stadiums.
Yes, we'll figure that out another time. All right, next question, also from Burger Circus. Which team do you think improved the most jersey-wise this year? L.A., Florida, Pittsburgh, Toronto, Winnipeg, or Philadelphia? We actually forgot to talk about Winnipeg's beautiful, beautiful Heritage Classic jerseys.
11 out of 10.
I think that's all that needs to be said, to be honest with you.
Yes, exactly.
So, which team improved the most?
Didn't we already kind of cover this?
I mean, we kind of did, but we just said, like, had the best rebrand.
That's true, that's true.
If we're
Would
gonna
you
throw
really
all-
consider LA and Philly as improving
I think we're
their
throwing Ultimates in.
brand? Because
Well, you can definitely include Philadelphia in there because they're no longer using that orange alternate.
Oh, they aren't?
That's
Oh.
a shame.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
So,
Go, Steve.
I'm going bias again. Just gonna go with the bias.
Okay. Might as well at this point, you know?
Seriously.
All right. Sean?
I'll say Florida.
Florida?
Again, I'll stick by my pick, but Philly would be a good set. Not to say that alternate was better, but I'm a sucker for white alternates.
Yeah, I can understand that. Brendan?
I'm going to also take the biased route again. But
Okay.
to some degree unbiased because I will say the Penguins jerseys I think was the best improvement, but I think it's in part because of how bland and not great their previous set was.
Yeah.
As predictable and just
Expected.
yeah, this was. I think it's such an improvement just because of how bad the jerseys were before.
I can understand that. As far as improvement, I always say that a quality alternate is a step above no alternate, which is a step above a awful alternate. So I have to go with the take on this.
Yeah, you should know about that, you and your Islanders.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, me and that one alternate that Sean loves for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
I love that jersey.
The first
The first black
Islanders.
jersey, the script logo, and the gray shoulders,
I love it.
the blue helmets.
I know. I love it.
Awful.
It defies logic, but I love it. And you know what? Here's the thing. I'll go as the Islanders have, in my opinion, haven't had a bad jersey since they switched over to the current Blues, exactly. And even going back to the old Blues, I liked.
Oh yeah, the old
those.
Navy Blues were great. I grew up with those.
I liked those. I like those fine. But I'm going to say something very controversial here.
Oh, here we go.
I think the Islanders wave jersey, when they swapped out the fisherman logo, would have made a beautiful alternate.
I completely agree with that.
And in
I
fact,
have both that and the fisherman.
they could do it right now.
So
To cash in on that nostalgia, thing.
I would say that they
20-year
could do it
nostalgia
right
wave.
now.
It'd be nice to see it in edge cut.
Yeah, it would definitely be interesting to see the edge cut of that. I would say maybe wait till next year when they start doing the 100th anniversary celebration and stuff.
I think
I'm not sure if you remembered what I posted, but I did get some information from a source that I cannot confirm at this moment that each team will be unveiling like a special throwback jersey as part of the 100th anniversary celebration.
Could that be the Pittsburgh or could that be the Pittsburgh one?
It definitely very well could be the Pittsburgh script with the powder blue.
Although, has any other team done this?
Well, no one's actually had anything come out yet, but again, as I said, it's a source that is unconfirmed at this moment.
Because
But would
it really
definitely
wouldn't
be exciting.
surprise me if the Penguins were just doing that as a 50th anniversary thing, and that's it.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, I didn't even think of the possibility of it really being a jersey. I just didn't think that was something they were doing. But I'd love to see it.
Oh, absolutely.
I just haven't heard anything even close to the Penguins coming out with another new jersey this year or next year. Well, I guess next year they will because of the Adidas switch over, but you get the
Right.
point.
All right. Next question, still from Burkus Circus. If Europe had won the World Cup of Hockey in the split jerseys, do you think that they could have been seen as more revolutionary or good than just ugly? Let's go with Steve on that one.
Like I said, I like those split jersey. But revolutionary, I don't think so. I mean, I think it worked because of the logo, and, you know, it was just the style.
Mm-hmm.
It was just fitting, the whole set overall was fitting. But with any other team, it would be really hard to pull off something like that. So, I would say no.
Yeah. Sean?
If a team wanted to do it, they'd have to do what Europe did, a split down the middle logo with one color on one side, the other color on the other. Winnipeg perhaps does that currently in a sense.
Yeah,
Would I ever want and the thing is that Winnipeg could do it now because we got Europe with the teal and blue. Winnipeg has the double blue.
Right.
So I think that there's a way to do it and a way not to do it, but is it revolutionary in hockey maybe?
In hockey, absolutely. Soccer definitely is not.
Soccer, even basketball. No, it's been done. It's not a completely foreign concept to a sports jersey, but to hockey itself, I can't, aside from a certain turd burger, it's probably... And that's the thing, though. I think the turd burger might have killed that idea in the NHL because that's the only thing people are going to think of, despite the fact that that wasn't the jersey's biggest problem. And it's just going to be one of those things where something was done terribly, and it's going to turn people off from doing it in the future.
Ever again. Yeah. I can totally see that. Brendan?
I think the main thing you'd need to have for this to really work is two similar colors, maybe white and gray, or like Europe had the double blue. Like with the Shark Stadium Series jersey, it's kind of similar. I don't think the teal and black worked very well. They were just kind of too different. Or, going back to the turd burger, the yellow and blue is a much bigger departure, I think. But I think it could work. I'm not sure this is going to really start a trend. Maybe if they won, it could more, but I don't really see it as much. Maybe with Adidas taking over, though. You never know.
I will say this. What that Europe jersey reminded me of was the Netherlands World Cup jerseys. The blue ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought of when I saw those.
I can't believe I didn't think of this, but the Rangers logo does that, kind of. Could they do it?
I don't know how that would look.
So I think because of the fact that they have such storied jerseys, you can't do that.
That's a no-no.
You just can't.
Stadium Series, that's it. I think that's the only way you could do it.
Yeah, that's true. Stadium Series, maybe.
So I think that the Rangers doing that with a red arm and a white arm on a blue jersey, if we saw that, that's probably the most practical example.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, it's just there's no team in the NHL right now, aside from Winnipeg, that I think could be that could do it without creating something new.
Right. Personally, for me, I absolutely hated those Europe jerseys, like, with a passion.
Both?
Yes, both of them. The white one was only slightly better, but I just can't see it happening ever again. It's just something you don't want to get done. All right. Someone's dog is apparently upset at something.
My dog.
So... next question comes from JJ Andrus. Where should the NHL host the next Winter Classic after St. Louis? Steve?
I don't know. I swear to God, I feel like they've held it everywhere. I don't know, Columbus at the Horseshoe.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably see that. Sean?
I think we're going to assume that the Winter Classic can't be held in Canada for the sake of this.
No.
You know what?
It could be.
It could. You're right. It could be. Will it? I don't know. And the other thing is that, I think that just you guys have better stadiums.
Yeah.
Bigger stadiums.
I mean, in certain areas within Canada, like, maybe, obviously, they're playing a game over at Investors Field in Winnipeg, but
That's a nice
Edmonton
stadium.
may be Commonwealth. but I don't think Edmonton's good enough.
It's not big enough.
What do you mean not big enough?
It's
How much is Commonwealth seat?
Commonwealth? I don't know. It's probably about 54,000.
Yeah, that should be plenty enough. Because
Right.
you had baseball stadiums that are 45 that were holding Winter Classics.
Yeah, but they could put people in the field.
They didn't though. That's the thing.
It's 56,000. You know what? I will actually take your example here. I will say that Commonwealth Stadium should be the next place to host it.
All right.
It's now that isn't to say that I don't, and I'm going to say this is just because I love the stadium, Skydome. I know I know it's a Toronto thing. I love Skydome. And hosting a outdoor game 25 years after one should have been hosted. Oh yeah.
All right.
But that
Brent.
I'm sorry, but doesn't that defeat the purpose? It's kind of like being when they had the Heritage Classic at BC Place in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Open the roof.
But it was literally just a beam of light on the center circle, and everything else was domed.
I don't
That's
care.
not
It's Rogers
That's
Center.
not outdoors.
It's Rogers Center though. Like,
And trust me, hosting it at Rogers Center is probably a lot better than hosting it at the Big O.
True.
I still can't believe the Impact still play games over there.
That's it. Oh, jeez. You could do a whole tirade on just how Montreal should never host outdoor games until they either accept that you can do it at Molson Field or build something new. But I can't stand how they keep using the stadium for anything except for a museum to the Olympics.
All right. Brendan.
I actually have no idea, so I'll just say Skydome because why not?
Hey!
All right. I'm going to say this because it's now time for me to be biased for once, and I'm going to say Citi Field. I'm not a Met fan, but it's a lot. I actually think it's a nicer stadium than Yankee Stadium. Plus, it would actually give the Islanders a more true home field advantage than their supposed home game at Yankee Stadium against the Rangers.
Yeah. Well, weren't
Like
they
the
talking
whole-
about... Sorry, go.
No.
Just go.
Okay, the whole thing about the Rangers being the away team against the Islanders in the Bronx and against New Jersey hosting a game within the state of New York. And the whole circumstances around it just upset me because it has nothing to do with the Devils and Islanders wanting to play at home. It has everything to do with the Rangers not wanting to pay property tax.
It was the lockout year. They were looking for whatever they could find to throw in to get people's attention back.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was the most well thought through outdoor games we'll ever see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weren't
All right. Go on.
considering building an arena near Citi Field?
I mean, they were thinking about that, but I think that's just a pipe dream just to hurry up negotiations with the Barclays Center as to what's going to happen with the opt-out clause. Because they've had the discussions over at Belmont Racetrack, where the Cosmos were actually supposed to build a stadium, but now it looks like that's never going to happen.
That's Barclays Stadium. Wow, that's quite the hockey arena.
Yeah, I know. Trust
oh
me.
my gosh,
I've been there enough.
I feel so bad for you. I really do. That's
Yeah.
I don't.
That's like watching the Cleveland Browns over and over again.
I wouldn't go that far. Like, if the
Yeah.
Islanders were bad, I would say absolutely. But considering the position the Islanders are in right now, the fact that we all have them in our playoff picks.
Top three, nonetheless.
No. I'm not saying the team.
I'm
I'm not saying the team. I'm saying, like, that stadium is so bad, it's like being forced to watch the Cleveland Browns over and over again.
I'd say it's like watching Edmonton the past 10 years.
Yeah.
I'd go that far.
Wow.
It's
put up just after the Cup run.
I've been to a stadium in Blainville, Quebec. I can't remember the name of it, but it's inside of a building that's connected to a Pro Hockey Life, and it's 3-sided. That's where the Blandville, Boisbriand Armada and the QJM JHL play. It's a 3-sided arena.
It's almost as bad as TD Place where the 67s play. They play like under the Red Blacks' new stadium.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I believe it. Yeah.
It's seriously like underneath one of the stands over at the football field there.
That doesn't surprise me.
Why?
It's Jeff Hunt. What do you expect?
Why are there 2 arenas in the NHL? One's called Rogers Arena and one's called Rogers Place.
The same reason why Rogers Sportsnet is broadcasting the NHL now.
Ugh.
Money, money, money.
Okay, it's just you get used to certain names for stadiums. But
like Rexall,
Rexall, General Motors Place.
Yeah, exactly. You'll learn the names.
I'm used to calling the Pens Arena Consol. This is going to be a bit of a change now.
Mellon.
Yeah, that's true, Mellon.
I'm used to calling
it Civic.
It's like a brand new arena. You can kind of understand that.
I was still a bit young whenever that was around. I was a bit older near the tail end of it.
Right. Alrighty.
One of the bunch.
Okay. Next question from JJ still. Out of all the original 6 teams, which one has the worst set of uniforms? Steve.
Toronto.
All right. Sean?
Wait. Is this currently?
Oh, go on. Currently.
Yes, Toronto.
Okay. Sean?
Boston.
Really?
And it's not to say Boston has bad uniforms. They've just worn better. I'm a huge fan of the post-Orr jerseys, the Esposito, Neely,
right,
Bork era jerseys.
Like the jerseys up to 95.
Exactly. These aren't bad. It's just there's so much better that they could choose from. I even prefer the pre-edge jerseys, which I know a lot of people are not a fan of. I know. I prefer their pre-edge. I like the small update they made to the logo. That's huge. It looks great, but there's a lot of the thing is that of the other 5 original 6 teams, without changing their identity majorly, they cannot look better. Aside from maybe the Rangers putting New York on their blue jerseys,
they're not going to do that.
They're not going to do that
because the blue jerseys are home jerseys now.
Exactly.
So you can't do that.
It looked better.
I disagree.
You disagree?
I disagree.
It's not. I can totally see why people would say that.
Mm-hmm. All right, Brendan.
I have to go with Toronto just because of the inconsistency of their new uniforms, but I also have to echo that I think Boston is probably in second. And it's not because they have bad jerseys. I don't know. There's just something about them that looks kind of old to me. I don't really know how else to explain it. Not really dated, but it's just kind of
not fresh.
I feel like they need something new.
See, but at the same time, do you think an original 16 can get away with something like that?
I think Boston could. Well, whenever I say something new, I really mean something new compared to what they have now.
Right.
Like throwing back to that 81-95 as unoriginal as it is, it makes more sense for an original 6 team than maybe the Penguins, like their new jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see that. The current logo in the same color scheme as those jerseys with the same striping and everything. That's probably my ideal Boston set.
That's understandable. I'm going to have to say Toronto because of the latest rebrand and because I love the Montreal home jersey enough that the away jersey, as much as I hate that, I can't have that dictate the entire decision for that because the red jersey just is outstanding in my opinion. So as much as I hate the Montreal white, I got to go with Toronto on this one.
I like the Montreal white, but I totally see why people don't like it. But what
you heard me say why I don't like it on the last podcast.
It's blank. Yeah. I agree. I see it. I like it. It used to be their home jersey, and it looked good as their home jersey. But if it wasn't for that, yeah, it's not a particularly great jersey, and it hasn't looked good probably since the 70s, I think. But what can you do, I think, without directly throwing back to 44, 47?
Yeah, well, you know what you can do? You can promote the Winter Classic jerseys from this past year over at Boston to full-time.
Isn't that just
Well, with a few updates, but
I go
I
with
kind of have to echo what some of you guys said, but I actually love the Montreal Road jerseys. I just really like how clean they look.
I think
But without the numbers, they're definitely too plain without the name and numbers. I actually do own a jersey, a road jersey, does have the numbers on it. But I do see why people don't like it for sure. But I really like it myself.
All right, last question from JJ, and then we have 2 anonymous questions here because people are a coward. Name a team who should make their current alternate jersey their new home uniform.
All right, let's get the ultimate.
The Penguins don't count because they've already done that.
Does Calgary count?
Well, I mean, it's not their current home, is it?
No, but are we going to count their new, like their old new alternate, or are we going to count their previous one?
Well, how about the one that they have now, which is the throwback one?
Okay.
So I think I know what your answer is going to be. Steve, let's go to you first, though.
I'm going to say Islanders.
You really think that they should go full Brooklyn, full time?
Just to piss you off.
Wow.
No. Okay. I would have to go with Calgary.
Understandable. Sean, you want to explain why you're picking Calgary?
I am picking Calgary's old alternate.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, I love Calgary's vintage white jersey.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, that red one isn't that good. It's got the, as Phil mentions, yellow and white problem, where you have the colors clash. But Calgary isn't my pick. It's Vancouver.
Ooh.
And it's something that should have been done years ago. But scrap that whale. Unless you're doing throwbacks.
It's never going to happen as long as Orca Bay still owns the team.
Oh, agreed. Yeah. But if you and don't get me wrong, I get why they have the Arch Vancouver on there. It's a callback to the Western Hockey League from the 50s and 60s. It worked for a time.
It doesn't work.
You don't think?
No, it doesn't work at all.
I think it does. But the alternate is just, I think we can all agree it's a better jersey. And I think people forget it because it's just been around so long and it's so similar to their home.
Yeah.
Definitely see that. Brendan.
I'd have to say Calgary because, as opposed to what was said before, I like their red jerseys, the vintage red jerseys, much better than the white. I don't know why. There's something about the white striping that just kind of, I don't want to say irritates me, but I just don't like it as much. And I really can't explain why. It's just one of those things. And then I was also going to say my second pick would be Vancouver.
All right. Personally, I'm not going to go with the Islanders because as much as I love the Brooklyn jersey, it's not a full-time jersey. I'm sorry. You just can't do that.
No, it's not.
So I'm going to go with the Ottawa Senators. But the only catch is the vintage white has to go. Just straight up white.
What about the Islanders' previous alternate?
Shut up.
You don't like? No, not that one. The blue one.
Oh, the Stadium Series jersey.
Yes.
No, can't see that.
What about? Would you ever want them to use the NY logo full time?
Oh, as an alternate logo, absolutely.
Full time?
Not full time.
Not full time.
Not full time because at that point you take away the biggest thing that the logo represents, which is Long Island.
Fair enough. I think it's fun to speculate what it would look like if they went full time.
Yeah.
It's if they were to do it, they'd have to keep the Long Island logo around on the shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously.
Make the Long Island as the alternate shoulder patch. Something like that.
I mean, maybe.
So, I'm surprised no one said Anaheim or Carolina or Colorado. Or Columbus even.
Yeah, on Columbus, speaking of which, our next question is, if Columbus were to make their third jersey the home jersey, would a beige away jersey to match it work? Steve.
I'm trying to picture it in my head right now. I want to say that, thinking it could work, just because I can't imagine what their alternate would look like with just plain white. So,
Understand.
Yeah, I think it would work.
All right. Sean.
I'm going to say completely, and I know that there is and I totally agree where people come from with this, and it doesn't work often, the dislike for vintage white, beige, wheat, whatever people want to call it, as an away jersey color. And I think that's because I think you'll remember 5 years ago when that was the it thing, when it was just every team was doing it or trying to do it.
Right.
And it looked like Minnesota was going to do it. Mm-hmm. And then it looked like Ottawa was going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ottawa did do it, actually.
Ottawa did do it technically, but never went full time to it.
Right.
So I say completely that Columbus could do it. And I think that they look better. The logo itself and the striping looks better in vintage white.
Yeah, I could see that. Brendan?
I definitely think it could work, and I think it would actually look pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't be in support of making that jersey full-time. Mainly it's the logo. I don't think the logo is a good primary. I like the current primary better. The jerseys, on the other hand, no. But I don't really think the Canon logo is a great primary for, at least for a hockey team. I don't know. It just doesn't seem... This is a bad explanation. I feel like my explanations and talking has been getting worse as the podcast has gone on.
It's
but
alright.
It just doesn't seem... Yeah, really. How do you know that? Maybe I am. No, I'm not. But it just doesn't really seem hockey-like. I think it works for an alternate. I think it works for a shoulder patch, but it just doesn't look like a great primary to me. But I think the jersey itself, if you had a primarily white or the vintage white jersey and literally just swap the navy blue and the vintage white on their current jersey, I actually think that would look great.
See, I'm of the opposite opinion with their current logo. It really looks like a shoulder patch to me.
Interesting. I think the current logo is a lot more dynamic than the alternate logo. The alternate logo looks good and definitely fits for a team called Blue Jackets since it's a Civil War themed thing, but the way that the Ohio State flag is incorporated in their primary logo just ties straight to the city of Columbus itself.
Yeah.
So I like that a lot better. As for a beige away jersey, I would say absolutely not. And we can get Wonka on here to explain why, because he experienced firsthand a beige away jersey full time. Not even a away jersey, an alternate jersey, the Rockford Ice Hogs. Back when Chicago had their first Winter Classic against Detroit, Rockford took those jerseys and inverted them so that vintage white was the primary.
I remember that.
There's a team that does that now.
What happened?
The Berlin River Drivers in the FHL. That's their jerseys, except swap the red for brown.
Ugh.
Yeah, so you're right.
It's black, brown, and beige as their color scheme.
Sounds awful.
Yeah, honestly, it is.
But what made things even worse was that they use white helmets on those.
Oh.
And the way the white and the vintage white clash, it's not pleasant to look at all.
I just looked that up. I completely see it. That just looks terrible. I don't think vintage white and white can coexist at all. That's one major gripe I have with some of the Wild jerseys.
Yeah.
White, and when they have the white and wheat together, it just doesn't work.
completely agree with that. Alrighty, and our final question, still anonymous. Why?
Why
The
not?
question is why?
The question is why.
Why, Carolina, why? Why does that red jersey exist? I'll extrapolate what he really meant to say.
Okay. So, Steve, why?
Why not?
Exactly. Alrighty, anyone want to throw any more comments before we wrap things up here?
Go Jets. It's going to be a long year for Vancouver.
All right, I got one.
Go for it.
When did you first realize you had a hockey jersey problem?
I'll answer that for you right now. When I realized that I also had a soccer jersey problem. That's when.
And what was that?
About a year ago, and I still haven't done anything about it except for add to the collection.
Guys, there's more questions.
What?
This is a live question from the post. I just read this now from
I'll
Vaughn.
post that on the Twitters.
Yeah, we got a question from Vaughn here.
Okay.
If the Canucks do another throwback, would you rather they do a WHL, Flying V, Orca Bay, or Blazers jersey?
All right, we'll go with Steve first.
The Flying V.
Fine.
Just for kicks.
Sure, why not? Sean.
I'm going to go on a limb here, and I love the idea of this, a Blazers jersey.
Interesting.
But didn't the Giants already do that?
Yes. But I'd like to see the Canucks do it because they've already done the spaghetti plate. And WHL, they're wearing their WHL jerseys right now with green instead of red and a logo instead of front numbers. So we're basically seeing that now. Flying V, okay. Orca Bay, no.
Ooh, how about I add in one? Their first alternate jersey. The gradient one for Vancouver?
Okay, yeah.
Could you see that?
I would love that personally, but they have to do it with the Red Sox.
I would honestly prefer the flying skate gradient, the red to black.
I would do the gradient, hands down.
I do that, but yeah, you have to put the proper socks on it because they did do the one season with the black socks, and it looked terrible.
Looked awful.
You
know what they should do for the socks? They should do a gradient black to red.
That would be gorgeous. That would be...
Yes.
Please, sign me up right now. Brendan?
No.
I'll agree with that. I wouldn't mind seeing either of those gradient jerseys, especially the later one. I don't know why, but I never really hated that one. I can't explain why, but there's this... Again, I'm being really bland, but there's just something about it that I kind of like. But I think more than that, I'd like to see the Flying V come back. Maybe not the whole uniform. Like I said in my post maybe a week or so ago, whenever that was, I don't mind the Flying V jersey. It's whenever you throw in the whole uniform that it just gets too busy. It's too much.
Right, because you had the V on the pants, you had the...
Even seeing that whole uniform come back would just be interesting, if nothing else,
You know what I think would probably be a better version of that? The first Canucks jersey with the flying skate logo that on the front, where they had the V's on the shoulders.
The yellow one or the black one?
Black one. I mean, the yellow one's not. The yellow one I liked. That's pretty awesome. I actually saw one of those in a store. I asked how much it was, and he said not for sale, and I was so disappointed.
Vaughn's got another question. This is a tough one.
I do see it here.
Oh, it is. If an AHL team goes to Atlanta, do they use the Thrashers name and branding, or do they create new stuff?
Steve.
Ooh. Well, being that Atlanta, like the Thrashers, how many good seasons did they have there?
2.
They only made the playoffs once.
Yeah, that was that year and the year they left.
Right. It was the year that they... And it was the year they actually won the division, I believe, too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no, just because it's kind of like how Hartford tried to go to the Connecticut Whale to try and face off the Hartford Whalers. Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be that situation if they try and do that.
Mm-hmm. Except for the fact that the Whalers were actually liked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And somewhat
except for from maybe Boston fans, but
or Montreal.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. Sean.
I got a Thrashers pennant hanging up right now, and I can tell you this: the Thrashers were arguably one of the worst teams to ever exist in NHL history. They were. They couldn't manage to do anything right in their 10-plus years. They were a dumping ground for players that were past their prime.
Yep.
And they drafted terribly. I think that's the number one reason why hockey failed in Atlanta was because the second time because it was mismanaged so much.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the other thing is it wasn't a particularly good looking logo set or jerseys that they had. Would you really want to throw back to that? You could throw back to the Atlanta Knights from the IHL. They were more well liked.
Or even the Atlanta Flames, somewhat.
Or if you really wanted to, well,
Calgary's not going to put a team in Atlanta. Let's be honest.
No, if anything, they'll go.
Abbotsford. Well, no, they already tried.
No, Canucks will go Abbotsford.
That's true.
First, I think the Canucks will go Abbotsford, but we saw contests for that 5 years ago. But the fact of the matter is that unlike the Whalers are fondly remembered, the Whalers won stuff. The Whalers did stuff. More than the Thrashers.
More than the Thrashers, yes.
I'd argue that the Colorado Rockies did more than the Thrashers. The Thrashers had the same number of playoff appearances as the Seals.
Well, I was just going to ask you, are the Thrashers worse than the Seals?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the Seals at least were a product of their time.
Right.
They were absurd in their existence. Their jerseys were absurd and in your face, and throwing back to that is nice because they're memorable. The Thrashers are not memorable.
Right.
Not in a good way.
Brendan.
I don't think I have anything new to say. Really. You guys have covered it all, but I will say again, I think it would be interesting to see the Thrashers jersey, logos, whatever, come back, but realistic and really a good idea, I'm not sure I'd say so.
Alrighty.
But you do have to look at the examples of what happened with Hartford and Connecticut. But then you also, maybe Tucson even. You can look, Tucson, I don't know why I can't. Tucson, right.
How did you make it this far without...
I don't know. It's been a metaphorically long week.
It's okay. Have you seen how many ways I've come up to spell Binghamton?
Binghamton?
I've found several ways to spell that, and all of them are wrong.
Thank God, right?
And actually, the post they did about the Senators moving, I think Taylor was the one who called me out, and he says, you've spelt it 3 different ways, and I can't tell if it's intentional or not. And I was just like, oh, crap. And I was like, no, that wasn't intentional. I can't spell this place. I feel...
and on that note, I will say that if a supposed Atlanta AHL team goes down there, if they do the Thrashers branding, they are going to get absolutely destroyed.
Of course.
And it's not going to last long at all. So just stay away from it at all costs.
It's going to be another Adirondack.
Well, the Adirondack Flames thing was cool. Well, minus their initial mascot, if you guys remember Scorch.
Oh, yeah. No.
That whole idea there was great because, you'll see that they support hockey in Glens Falls area, but the only reason why they moved is because Calgary wanted to be part of that new West Division and have that team closer to home.
Yeah, I'll tack a question on here while we're on the AHL.
Go ahead.
It's been confirmed that Binghamton will have a team.
Binghamton, yes.
And
I live in New York.
I'm a Nova Scotian. I can't pronounce anything.
Fair enough.
Which team will be the one that moves to that place in New York?
That's an interesting question. Steve, I know you're probably still thinking about this, but I'm going to have to throw you under the bus here. You're first.
Albany.
Interesting. All right. Brennan? Or no, Sean. Excuse me. We got to keep the order consistent here. Sean.
It'll either be Albany or Utica. Not just out of distance, but because they are two of the worst performing teams, and the only worse team than those two was the Springfield Falcons.
Sean.
But it'll be interesting to see what happens with Springfield.
Sean, it's Utica.
No, it's not.
Yes,
No, it's not Utica. It's Utica. I know it is.
It is Utica.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Because,
I'm trying to
I know that because of the
screw with
Simpsons. I know it because of the Simpsons.
Just like Albuquerque?
See, personally, if I think Utica's going anywhere, they're going straight to Abbotsford. Like, there's no way the Canucks are going to move their team to somewhere else in New York if Abbotsford isn't ready.
But I think if that happens, what we'll see is that the Canucks will change affiliates, and then the team that they change with will move. I think it's good. The last few summers in the AHL have been really messy.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have noticed that.
Right.
And next summer's summer. But I think that what we'll see with the Binghamton team is that it's going to change a lot. They're not going to be the only team that moves.
Oh, yeah, no, there's no question. There's always
Bridgeport.
like 5 teams that move. No, Bridgeport's not going anywhere.
You don't think so?
No. You know why? Because Nassau Coliseum's not ready.
What about Hartford?
If Bridgeport is going anywhere, they're going to Uniondale.
I can see that.
And then on top of that, the Wolfpack moved to Bridgeport.
It's so sad that the Hartford Wolfpack aren't working.
It is sad, but at the same time, look at their arena.
Yeah, no, it's the Whalers Arena.
Yeah,
wasn't
it's
it
the same
built onto a
thing.
mall or something?
Yes,
it is.
Yes, it's built onto a mall, and
and they were trying to renovate it and whatnot. Last time
that was a joke when the Whalers were more than 10 years away from relocating. Like, this isn't a new thing. It's just I don't understand why. But then again, when you're not getting the fans out there, why would the Rangers want to invest money in you?
Exactly. Personally, I think if there's a team going into Binghamton, it will be the Albany Devils.
You really think New Jersey pulls out of Albany, though? Because I think that's the only thing is that New Jersey's been there so long.
Yeah, well, with the exception of Carolina taking over the River Rats for a bit. Or did they have it first? I'm not sure.
No, New Jersey had it first. They had it up until 2005, 2006. I don't know where the Devils went in that time.
They went to Lowell.
Right.
Yeah, they went to Lowell, came the Lock Monsters, and the Devils.
Not
they
the Lowell
had that
Devils.
really awful logo when they were the Devils.
Oh, you've reminded. Oh no, yeah, because they basically the Hurricanes and Devils swapped AHL teams, and if you ask me, both teams lost.
Oh, absolutely.
That was
like, as much as I love the River Rats branding, I don't think hockey up at all when it's not going to work.
What's the new Binghamton team going to be called?
The Binghamton Devils. I mean,
Dusters.
Bring back the Dusters.
Dusters.
Yeah, the Dusters.
The sad thing is that's the only original name they've ever had.
Yeah, it's the Dusters, the Whalers, the Rangers, the Sens, and then
they actually had a FHL team the first year. It was open, called the Broome County Barons. So who
That's-
knows? Maybe that too.
You know what? It's so unlikely, but they got nice logos. So, but I think that we can all agree in today's AHL, it's all going to be templated,
Oh, absolutely.
and it's all like Laval Rock. I think that our prediction for Laval Rocket is we're going to see possibly a nice logo wasted on it. I would be surprised.
You're going to see this, in my opinion, you're going to see the same exact logo that the
Yes.
Montreal and PEI Rocket had.
Yes, that's not a bad thing though.
I mean, it's not a bad thing.
This is what
But-
you're going to see. You're going to see Maurice Richards' face on the front of the Canadiens jersey. That's
Just
what
a
you're gonna
big-
see.
No. First off,
I still think Patriarchs.
Maurice Richard.
Richard. Yes.
Maurice Richard.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay.
That would be funny though. Just a big picture of the guy. But it would be interesting to see if they went with that, like a silhouette of a skater, because I don't think we see a lot of that in hockey. Is that using players as logos
That
Well,
would
outside
be
of Johnny
cool.
Canuck.
outside it? Well, even so, but
He's not even used that much.
Could Tucson count?
No, because it's a bird.
Did I say that right?
that's an anthropomorphic bird that's existed since the '60s. In one way or
In a certain sense.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
Roadrunners
they're
actually
not really
do
people,
exist, but it's like a humanoid version.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
60. Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed that the Roadrunners name came back though.
I'm not,
It's-
but
They've
I don't
existed.
mind the name, but the logo, no.
Yeah.
They've existed in one form or another since 1967.
but so have the San Diego Gulls. So,
Yeah, but they look good. I think that
well, their jerseys don't, but
this is sort of an update to it. We got Tucson's jerseys for their first game, and it's their practice jerseys
what? They're
It's
using
maroon.
practice jerseys in their first game.
in their first preseason game.
Oh, in the first preseason game. Oh, yeah.
So you're
Well,
saying-
everyone uses practice jerseys in the preseason games in the AHL.
Do they?
Yeah.
But
Like back when the Sound Tigers were playing the Phantoms, like the Sound Tigers jerseys were white with a full sleeve blue. That's it. So,
I know the one talking about. Yeah,
yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. It's at least they're maroon. I'll give it that. If they're colored. They're the proper color. So that's mystery sort of solved. We know what the color layout's going to be, I guess.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's.
So on that note, before we decide to mispronounce any other names, we probably should wrap up. So get ready for the start of the NHL season. Get ready for all sorts of exciting competitions on the blog, and we'll see you around.
Okay, bye everybody.
Work on those Carolina entries.
All right. And end scene.
I think I lost some of my recording at some point, so hopefully yours all worked.
Oh, you were both recording?